My dear student, as we are talking about the selection decision, another approach is called as a successive hurdle approach. In the successive hurdle approach, there are a number of predictors. Number one is the preliminary interview. Number two is the application form. Number three is the test. Number four is the interview. And number five is the background information. And number six is the medical examination. So these predictors need to be predicted during the job interview, but you would predict all of the predictor in a successive stage. So manager consider each of the predictor at each of the successive stage of the selection process, and keeping in view each of the predictor in the different successive stages, the manager would make the decisions. And the final decisions would be made at each successive stage, and manager make decisions to hire or reject the candidate, keeping in view the successive hurdle approach. In successive hurdle approach or multiple hurdle approaches, the selection predictors are ranked according to their effectiveness. So one predictor can be more effective in one kind of a job. So it's the job of managers to rank different kind of predictors in terms of its effectiveness. For example, if an intelligence test has the highest correlation with a job success, then you would start with the intelligence test. And after the intelligence test, then you would go to the interview and then so on. So intelligence test would be the first hurdle or the step in the selection process. And if the person would cross the first hurdle, then he would be able to go to the next step. So candidates who move on to the next hurdle, such as the interview, reference checks and so on, would depend on his successiveness in the first stage, on the first hurdle. And once they will pass through the different hurdles, they will go to the next step. Until the selection process is completed by passing through the different kind of stages, candidates who failed any hurdle are automatically rejected. So it is sort of a knockout thing, that if someone is failed in the first step, in the first stage, obviously he would not be able to go to the next stage. It will save a lot of time and expenses of a management to hire the candidate. Because if someone is not suitable on the first and the most effective successive stage, he would not be eligible to go to the next step and pass that next step. So keep in mind the successive stage, it is sort of a knockout stage. If you would not be able to perform on the first stage, you would not be able to go to the next stage as well. The successive hurdle approach can be very economical. Why is it economical? Because if someone failed to the first step, he would not be able to go to the next step. So it would save a lot of expenses incurred to the next stages. So it is economical by using predictors such as intelligence tests to screen out the best candidates early in the selection process, and the more expensive predictors such as a panel interview can be saved for the use with a small group, because the few of the predictors are very cheap, very cost effective, and such kind of predictors can be used in the start, so you can save a lot of the cost in that stage. And the most expensive predictors such as interviews can be used in the later stages with a less number of the people. So successive hurdle approach is more economical as compared to the compensatory approaches, and keeping in view those successive stages of the candidates, the managers would make a final decisions of hiring or rejecting the candidates.